Hi, I'm Ross Muscato. I am a news and history and political and issues junkie. I enjoy reading newspapers and watching cable news, listening to talk radio, and surfing online for news and for social media posts about current events and issues. I like reading and watching and listening to opinion and commentary. Of course, in the wake of a major event, in the wake of catastrophe, in the wake of vile and murderous, and I'll go specific here, in the wake of the horrific carnage of Orlando, the news and communications outlets and channels and sources fairly vibrate. They fairly bounce with information and education and explanation. And the news and communications outlets and channels also vibrate and bounce with heated argument, with indignity, and with vitriol. We witness the passion of those trying to make a point. And so much of this is good and needed and contributes to the marshaling and dedication of the forces that will oppose, lay low, and destroy evil, and those who propagate evil, and those who propagate hatred. But this all relates to a healthy society, what I'm about to say, a civilized society. Most people don't make a living as pundits and commentators. Our livelihood and our franchise is not to argue a political or cultural position. We may believe in something fervently and evangelize for what we believe, but our work, our vocation is not to shore up and play up to some people's views, to knock down views of others, and to recruit people to our cause. No. People's jobs are about other tasks and actions, about teaching, about cooking, about selling, ministering, digging, planting, moving, fixing bikes, wiring houses, coaching, selling, diagnosing and healing, inventing, serving and protecting national security and public safety. Let us be mindful, so mindful, so considerate, that those closest to the hub of the tragedy of a nightclub in Orlando are enduring almost unbearable anguish and knowing almost unbearable loss, as at the same time, a collective and national wound remains raw. Let us be mindful and considerate that we can hold strong views, we can spiritedly state our place and cause, and still find so much on which to agree, and in which we can support one another. When we allow tragedy to foment disunion and dislike and anger at one another, then the terrorist has gained and accomplished. On March 4, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address. The Civil War was within days of being over. About to come to an end were 4 years of slaughter and human sacrifice that would claim about 620,000, or 2% of our nation's population. For some perspective, 2% of today's population of the United States is in the neighborhood of 6.5 million people. In his address, in his speech, President Lincoln wholly and rightly attacked the obscenity of slavery and declared that holding people in bondage was the fundamental source of the conflict that tore apart our republic. He declared that the war was the debt and penance America paid for slavery. But he recognized that healing was primary. He recognized that unity was primary. In the speech, President Lincoln said, quote, "With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle and for the widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations," end quote. Again, after 4 years of hell and loss, President Lincoln, the great emancipator and as close perhaps to a secular saint as America has known, told the nation that we have to come together to survive. After Orlando, in the wake of Orlando, let us hold this truth close and let this truth inspire and guide our conduct and our relationships with one another. Thank you for watching.